They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Hey folks, man, this is Monk, and we are back with another episode of Classics of Cinematics, and I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
Yeah, so we got a special film. It's a film directed by George A. Romero. It's a horror film, and this film is partly responsible for kicking off one of the most popular genres to this day. And we're going to be talking about Night of the Living Dead. Yeah. And in this film, a disparate group of individuals take refuge in an abandoned house when corpses begin to leave the graveyard in search of fresh human bodies to devour. The pragmatic Ben does his best to control the situation, but when the reanimated bodies surround the house, the other survivors begin to panic. As any semblance of order within the group begins to dissipate, the zombies start to find ways inside. One by one, the living humans become the prey of the deceased ones. This film is pretty crazy. We've got an interesting cast here. Yeah, they're mostly new people though with this in this cast, mostly unknowns. We got Duane Jones, who plays one of our main characters, Ben. We also got Judith O'Dea, who plays Barbara. We've also got Carl Hardman, Judith Ridley, Kyra Shawn, Bill Cardille, Bill Hinsman, Gary Striner, and we also got Marilyn Eastman. George Kosana also pops up in this, and there's also Keith Wayne, man. Shout out to him. Yep. And for the most part, those are our main people. There's a few extra people in here that are playing zombies, and there's some other scenes in this where we get news reports and in-studio stuff where people are playing those characters. But yeah, man, this film is crazy, man. For the most part, I think you could classify this film. This was kind of it wasn't a first, but this is kind of an example of a siege film where we've got a bunch of characters holed up and this force is coming at them and they're just trying to survive the situation, man. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, and not for nothing, when it comes to zombie movies, this is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? This is the one that, like you said, it kicked it all off. It set the tone. And, you know, you can't speak on the genre in any way, shape, or form without bringing up this film and paying homage to it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, what I like about it, and pretty much what the backbone of this movie is the story. You know what I'm saying? It starts off aggressively and it ends aggressively, and throughout the whole time from beginning to end, you know, it sets the tone with the anticipation, the tension building, and also, you know, we get this this like lingering fear element, you know, of not knowing what to expect, you know what I'm saying? And that just it builds the whole way through. It's like this is the film version of a roller coaster ride, you know what I'm saying? And when it came out in 1968, it caught everyone off guard, caught the masses off guard. And people were, you know, they were seeing this. They weren't ready for this kind of film, you know what I'm saying? At this time, films weren't even being rated, you know what I'm saying? The films, movies started getting rated November 1st, 1968, and this one dropped officially October 4th, but had its first premiere October 1st, 1968. So it came out unrated. So, you know, people were bringing their children to see this. Yeah, that's you see what I'm saying? Little kids crying and all this crazy, and the people in there passing out, fainting.
Yeah. I feel like the poster would give you an indicator that this is kind of dealing with some horror, some intense stuff. But it's wild to me because this is one of these films where I feel like we've seen films like this before. It's not really about the zombies, in my opinion. No. Man. The zombies could be anything. It could be a natural disaster. Yeah. It could be a plague. It could be a virus, or maybe a nuclear bomb went out. But the core thing is how these characters deal with it, man. And I think these films kind of endure because they tend to put people in a blender, and then we see how human nature steps in. You know, what is your individual makeup? How are these people going to respond to different things? The setup allows these things to be explored, you know, in this film.
When you're thrust into these kind of situations as humans, who can keep their humanity intact? Because oftentimes we see in these kind of films that the humans are the ones that really turn into the monsters.
Yeah, you know but also I would argue too that is the humanity. It's not all good. It's not all bad either. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
It all depends. Like
it's going to be that's part of our makeup too. Like the characteristics of some of these characters. But also, true. I think what you know, kind of what's dope about this story is, like you said, there's that lingering fear because we don't know. Like we know as much as the characters know, even less, because we come to find out that, you know, by the time they get to this house, especially Ben, they've already been out there dealing with this phenomenon that's going on. So they have a little bit more knowledge than us, but we're all getting it as they're getting it. Especially, I love how we get bits of the story through the news broadcast and the radio. Like that's really dope to me, man. That kind of helps fill this story out in a cool way.
What I really like, I like the beginning, because the beginning is the only small slice of subtle calmness we get as we cruise up that long dirt road with Barbara and Johnny. And Johnny, of course, is complaining about how long it takes to get to the cemetery, why we got to do this every year, blah, 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 you know. And with that, it's like, and the gripes and grievances just seem, they seem so big at the time, but they're just so small when you dive into the meat and potatoes of what this film has to offer. And I also like that, you know, they established the fact that there was just a time change. So even though it looks like it was daytime, it was 8 o'clock at night. So this film, it's extremely focused on one night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was close to night, because I think she said this was
8 p.m. the time change.
It's the solstice, kind of. So
and so with it being focused on one night, and then, you know, also set in this very condensed environment in the house, it gives us time to really focus on the characters and make the characters that much more meaningful and that much more impactful as we, you know, either grow to root for some of them or start to dislike the others.
And like to, this is a thing that kind of keeps going on. I think later on the movies did it differently, where some films started explaining stuff like you get to something like Sleeping Corpses Lie, where they tell you what caused the outbreak. And this one, the closest thing we got is that a satellite has came back to Earth with strange radiation, and that's the closest thing that we think is causing these corpses to reanimate. So I think that's kind of interesting, just to keep it as vague as possible still, you know?
Well, and that adds to the lore of the film, because then what it does, that's what makes it more scary, you know, as people, I just imagine people leaving out of the theater or after their first experience, the next time they might have to drive by a cemetery or go to a funeral, gosh forbid, or visit a loved one that passed away. You know, it implants that thought in your head, like, is today the day? We don't know. We don't know what brought him to life the first time.
I can see that kind of building into the fear, man. But I think, you know, it's one aspect of it that is cool, man, is where it's taking place. So that's cool, because they drive out. They said they're driving from Pittsburgh. They're 2 hours outside of Pittsburgh, so that's a long ride. It's about 200 miles, so he's speeding too, man. So this thing takes place, for the most part, we're in kind of rural Pennsylvania. You know what I'm saying? And we're on a farmhouse for most of the film. Outside of the cemetery scene, the other interior is a farmhouse, which has at least 2 buildings on it. At least, I think there's a barn where things are taking place, and this house, you know, which is kind of a nice size house, has an upper level, lower level that they're moving around in, and this is where they're going to hold down the fort and you know, hold their ground and try to survive this crazy phenomenon, you know.
But it's cool though, because, you know, like I said again, you know, because it's so condensed, it's so hyper focused on just the events that are taking place. We you know, with it being done in this small farmhouse, it's like we're not like, oh man, we got to worry about this was happening over here, this was happening in this house, this building, over these characters, this. We're not jumping all over the place. We're in the living room. When they're in the living room, we're in the living room with them. When they're busting through the windows, you know, you feel that, you know, it's oh my gosh, it like, this film, you know, you can see how this film could influence other films like, let's say, Alien, or other films like that, or The Thing, where, you know, they show that it's not just about what's going on to the characters, it's where it's happening to them.
It's very influential, man, especially like even something as recent as Knock at the Cabin. Like that, there's some elements in that film that are also in this film, you know, especially. I was so mad in that film, not, you know, because it happened, but I just feeling what the characters felt when they broke the TV. And all of a sudden, there's no more reports coming in from the outside. And I'm like, and there's scenes in this film where they're looking at the news and stuff, and those are vital scenes. They're vital for the characters to get information, but they're also vital for us. Those are some of my favorite moments, especially when the guy comes on the radio and he's talking about the safe zones and stuff. It's crazy. There's a part where they're talking about some research that's being done at Cumberland, Maryland. And you're like, this is close to us, dude.
Around the way.
Pennsylvania is right above us. That's the next thing on top. And there's and even later on there's a map that shows safe zones and stuff, man. And there's a couple of Maryland places in there, so those things are kind of cool. It also helps to add to the reality feel of this thing, man. You know, it feels like it's like real world kind of stuff, man.
You know, another thing that stood out to me too is when an argument ensues over what actually is the safest place in the home. You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, if we all just band together, all of us, and we can fortify the whole unit and stop trying to like break ourselves off into these pocket areas, you know, because the ultimate the thing of it is that you're trapped regardless, whether you're trapped in the attic, the basement, the living room. So let's try and fortify the whole place. You know what I'm saying? If there's a lot of windows, then we need to board all these jumps up before we go run downstairs. Like, you know, you can only tuck and run, but so far.
Where did you feel was a better place, to be upstairs or be downstairs? Because I probably would have went down. You know what I'm saying?
You know,
like if you think about it. If you
hindsight's 2020, okay? Because it doesn't. Hindsight's 2020.
It's funny because Ben holds his big ass speech and he ends up surviving because he went down in the basement.
Exactly.
Like that's the funniest shit.
That's
to
what I'm saying. So after seeing the whole film and how everything transpired, yes, I'd go to the basement because that's where
but
you go
maybe
to
if he
survive.
had help, they could have held it down.
You see what I'm saying?
But this is a situation that's growing by them. It's not like you just got time to think infinitely time. I think that's cool when some films, they put the clock on you too, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You got a situation, but there's also a clock on it. Like yo, these zombies, they're getting deeper and deeper and deeper. By the time we get to the end of this film, there's like 60 of these joints around the whole thing. And it's like you got to make a choice. You're either going to run, you know, or hunker down and face the consequences.
And that's the thing too, because it's like if you were going to run, then you would have had to do that when there was less of them. And then also once we meet the other character, Harry, he's like, dude, I saw 5 of them flip a car. You know what I'm saying? And Ben's like, well, you know, I mean, of course, five men can do that. You know, 5 dudes can do that whether they're living or dead. He was like, so 60 of them can get into a house. You know?
That is true, man.
You know, but yeah, no, I mean, you're right. As we dive into the characters, man, Duane Jones as Ben, I mean, he was awesome as the main like protagonist, as the most influential character in this film. I mean, he had backbone for days. You know, he seemed like unaffected by what was going on, or he at least gave the impression that he was
I think he was affected.
He was affected because when he seemed like he was like, man, I'm balls to the wall here. Like we gonna get through this.
One scene that trips me out rewatching it, I didn't look at it this way before, but when he comes in the house, you know, he saves Barbara. They're both in the house. And Barbara, he tells his story, which is interesting, man. Really cool insight of what's going on outside. He talks about the gas station. A gas truck came by and blew up, and you know there was a diner and surrounded by these things, and apparently everyone in there died. He sees the diner just get surrounded, and there's 60 of these things running after him. He gets into a pickup truck and runs away. Blah blah. He tells the story. So then it trips me out because then all of a sudden Barbara's like has a moment. She relates to what he went through, and she starts telling her story. And immediately he's kind of a dick. Like the look that he gives her, it's like, man, I'm just telling you what happened to me. I don't want to hear your story. And it was so weird to me. This is before she even starts, you know, going crazy and getting too intense and losing it. You know what I'm saying? We gotta go get Johnny back. I was like, that's kind of dickish, man. I mean, that was kind of being a dick.
The way she was telling her story, I was like, man, I saw what happened to you up there at the cemetery. You weren't laughing one little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like you adding a little bit of sprinkles on that ice. But the cool thing about
he was a jerk, man.
Yes, he was. But you know what? They said that originally when the script was written, that the character of Ben was supposed to be like a crude truck driver, respectable but crude, kind of like just, you know, and because Ben killed the role when he auditioned for it, they had to rewrite the character a little bit for him because of his like real serious nature, and they were like, we're just
I think there was a lot of rewriting because one of the things that gets me anytime you talk to George Romero about this, he's going to say he cast Duane because he was the best actor for the job. But I think some of these changes also had to do with Ben as a black man, yo. Especially when we get to the end, that's really interesting to me. How that imagery, it looks very lynching like. Like you could have done that with another actor, maybe a white guy or a white truck driver or whatever. But I think having Duane cast in this makes it a little bit extra, and I don't think Romero's being honest about that. Maybe he's trying to hide his the cards that he was playing with a little bit, or doing the thing and just try to deflect a little bit. But I think that totally factored into how this thing came out, man.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And it's crazy too that it does avoid like I get the idea that him and what's the other guy's name? The guy with the wife and the kid.
Oh, that's Harry.
Yeah, I also get a feeling it's never expressly said, but I think him and Harry's conflict this also has to do with his race.
It was racial
it's
tension.
never, he doesn't get as far as calling him out of his name or anything like that, but you definitely get the implications.
If there wasn't a camera, he would have said some shit.
Or if
it wasn't a movie,
or if Ben was probably a guy that looked like him, then maybe they would have probably dealt with this a little different.
He didn't want to tussle with Ben.
Or he would have respected Ben's output, insights, a little bit better, and been more cooperative,
Yeah, but you know what? When speaking on Harry, he was played by Carl Hardman, and I
liked him as this. Like he's despicable, but he's good at the role.
But you know what? Like he was the likable, unlikable guy because he was in a way, in certain aspects, he was the voice of reason. He was the father trying to protect his child, the husband trying to protect his wife.
Yeah.
So I get it from that aspect. But he wasn't a team player.
It's understandable. Like that's why I say earlier when we were talking about humanity, that's part of it too. Self-preservation. Looking out for your family and stuff.
Yes, but you know what? When you are thrust in this kind of situation, of course you protect your family, but you also have to, we are moving as a united front. We are working as a united front. Mm-hmm. And to protect your family, ultimately, is to protect the group. We got to work together as a strength in numbers.
Man.
Strength in numbers.
Some people will look at it like that, and some won't. Like it's kind of like, I feel like if Hardman, if Harry was politically right now, he'd probably be a independent.
Governor?
He'd be, what do they call these guys, man? He'd be libertarian.
The libertarian.
That's
there
what
you go. There you go. One of those
libertarian.
Okay, I got you. I don't want to dive too deep into that political stuff. But you're right. You're right. But you know what? He was a douchebag on screen, but the thing is off screen, he was actually really helpful to the film because not only did he play the role of Harry, but he was also the makeup artist, the electronic and sound effects engineer, and he took the still photos used at the end credits.
Oh, okay.
So this was
this was an indie production though, wasn't it? That's the thing too.
This was an all-out group effort from everybody.
This film, this kind of had a budget for its era, but this film was made for 114,000 USD.
Since we're going to talk about that,
this ain't no Hollywood thing.
114,000 in 1968, but still stands as the highest grossing independent film because it pulled back $30 million and change. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Yeah, they publishing. Someone messed up with the paperwork and they lost.
They put the wrong name and then it went to free domain.
So pretty much it becomes this film is public domain, and it's crazy because there are a lot of remixes to this thing. There's an animated version that was done of this where segments are it's the same film audio wise, but they've animated the stuff. I've seen people doing their own dubs and things like that. The only thing that might be tricky copyright wise is the audio because someone did put the soundtrack out as a record, so that you might run into problems on that line if you do use that audio.
But real quick before we so just to tie up everything with the cast and characters, I thought with Judith O'Dea, she was okay as Barbara. I think that she kind of helped kind of ground this film with the oh I'm so scared, but she was really she really overhit the damsel in distress like this. I
think her intro was great.
The intro was great. The intro was great.
And then once
but in the house, she was not helpful.
I'm cool with that because she's there's a traumatic experience for us.
It is traumatic,
and I think we need her to show that everyone doesn't deal with this in the same way. Some of our other characters are more adjusted. Even all right, this is what gives me right here, the body scene. The body that's at the top of the stairs in the house. Mm-hmm. So when she sees the body, she screams. And here's the crazy part too. I thought that, it's been a while since I saw it, so I'm rewatching it now. She screams and Ben doesn't know what she's screaming about.
Yeah.
He goes up there to look at himself and that freaks him out even. He looks at it and he's like, and he runs down the stairs. So I thought that was cool because they just reacted a little differently, but they both were shook up to that. But Ben's character, he's still focused on the bigger picture. Still, he's able to compartmentalize in a way that she can't just yet. You know?
No, I mean, she definitely, and that helps ground the film, but also, you know, in the little short we did, I mean, I am partial to the remake for my own personal reasons. I mean, this one is, you know, top tier, you know, for all of the good that it did. I mean, without this movie, zombies don't exist. But I liked Barbara's character dynamic in the remake more, just because she was a little more of a heroine. She was just as equally shell shocked in the beginning, but through the strength of Ben and just the knowledge of knowing what was going on, she was able to like pick herself up by the bootstraps and be able to start to fight back. Where like I would have liked to see that happen with this too, because I mean, you reach a point where, you know, as the house is getting more and more surrounded, you know, it's either, you know what I'm saying, you either, you know, wave the flag or you fight.
But also, you're looking at 1968 to 1990.
Yeah,
that's a lot of years in between, a lot more film. By then, you've got Ellen Ripley, you've got strong women characters that get into the action. I think that was probably a harder sell, or even harder for the creators of this to imagine at that time. The closest thing we get in this film is when Judy and Tom, when they try to help him refuel the truck. And that scene is kind of crazy, man. It's probably the most action-packed scene I think in here that's kind of cool to me, because, you know, they got a distinct mission. Shit's hitting the fan. Zombies are surrounding this place, and they got to make a choice. And their choice is to refuel this truck to try to make a run for it. Yeah. And Ben and them go out, which is kind of crazy because we also see Harry pull a dick move while this is going.
Locks him out.
He doesn't want to help them at all. But then he doesn't want to help them also. Like both ends. He doesn't help two times. He doesn't help pull the mission off. And then when the mission goes disastrous, it goes wrong, he doesn't help Ben get back in the house.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I'm with you. I like Tom. I think because Tom was the most helpful of the bunch, you know, with the tension between Ben and Harry, you know, for whatever the reasons.
He's stuck in the middle.
But he also can see through a clear lens, like, yo, we got to stick together. We got to work together. We're not going to get through this. And, you know, Judy she was dope because she was rocking with him. Like, they were trying to get her to stay in the house. She was like, nah, I'm riding with you. I don't care. I'm going to help. I'm going to find a way to help because, you know, yet again, you know what I'm saying? We either band together and we do this shit or we go belly up.
So here, rewatching it, like I don't think they had to die, because this is a funny part to me, right?
They didn't. Her jacket gets caught on the seatbelt hook.
You know what happened if my jacket's caught? I'm gonna slide out that joint. I'm gonna slide. I'm gonna slide about that jacket.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need the jacket.
I'm gonna slide right up out of that. Like, however, it's like.
But I guess it's because the truck, the fire next to the gas hose.
Yeah. But it's a really intense scene, man. That's probably
you want to see them get through it. Like, so there's the little fire, and he's like, Tom is freaking out. He's just spraying gas everywhere except for where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying?
What are you doing?
And Judy's in the damn truck. She's like, oh, my jacket's stuck. And he's like, I ain't gonna leave you.
Man, he got like a premature gas ejaculation.
Yeah, right. He's like, we gonna get out of here. He's like, come on, man.
Why you squeezing the hand on it? You're not even in the.
You're not even in the gas tank. What you doing,
man?
But you know what? Also, shout out to Bill Heisman. He is the first zombie that we see. The one that initially Barbara and Johnny meet in the cemetery, and he seems to be like the most aggressive, assertive zombie of all of them. You know what I'm saying?
He's moving.
He moves quicker than the rest of them.
What's interesting too is these zombies. They're using like things. They're using at least things to bludgeon with, because
he was trying to bust the window
with the rock, and later on, some of these zombies they're attacking the house with things in their hands.
Like even when he was tussling with Johnny in the cemetery, he knew they was going down, and he had the wherewithal to put his hand on Johnny's head to make sure he smacked his head onto the gravestone. Yeah. It's like, damn, come on now. But but yeah, you know. But other than that, I think the look of the zombies, you know, of course, by today's standards, we have seen so many enhancements. You know, we've been exposed to, you know, Tar Man, and then moving forward, everything we got from 28 Days Later and all that.
I think they worked with this, though.
It works because, you know, this was initially, like, they were just supposed to be the recently deceased that have risen. So, you know, they look pale, they look a little unkept.
Well, see, I think that the scripture is a little messed up. I feel like most of these ones that are surrounding the house, they're really fresh.
Yeah,
so that's why they don't have that decomposition look.
Well, because we don't see a single one of them come up out the dirt.
Yeah. So that description I read earlier is a little off.
They're not coming out the dirt.
I don't think these were. They're not delivering. You know, actually, it's just that we saw that first guy in the cemetery.
He was probably trying to find his gravestone. He was like, "Shit, I was in the morgue chilling, and I woke back up."
I get a feeling like if the radiation did cause it, it's probably some guy that died of a heart attack eating his breakfast that became the first zombie. You know. Not some guy literally coming out the grave. Like it don't work like that.
And none of them had like missing limbs or like you said, or like, you know, dirt in their hair or nothing. We didn't see, all of the graves were intact. There were no holes in the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like I said, man, I don't know what else was going on in '68. I know, you know, there was a film, The Thing from Outer Space, but I don't know if things pushed it this far, because once the
no, this pushed the limits, bro.
Because once what's her name, Tom and Judy. Is that her?
Yeah, that's the power couple.
Yeah, once they blow up, bro, that scene when they drag them out, they're just dragging parts out of them. That's kind of nasty still, bro. It's for '68, for 2018, it is nasty looking. Like it's like they eating the giblets.
They munch on, dude.
Munch like, from the rooter to the tutor.
Oh, the drive-through is still open, Jack.
I'm looking at those. It's still kind of gross. Like you're like grabbing on livers and pulling stuff. So that's kind of cool, man. That's still in there, man.
You know what also was really cool? What helped this film is the music, man. I really like the music as it progresses through the film, because this is one of those films, because it's older and stuff. And the music played very impactful and important parts in the film. And it says that the music was composed by William Luce, but then I was also reading that they said that the music was a bunch of existing pieces that were mixed or modified in the film, and much of the soundtrack had been used in previous films. So I don't really know, or maybe it was a little bit of both, or how they worked around that. But you know, the music definitely intensified the scenes. It kind of created a character within itself, and it just did everything that, you know, a solid score soundtrack is supposed to do in a film, especially with this time. You know what I'm saying, where the music was such a powerful part of film. You know what I'm saying? We've strayed away from that. We've talked about that in other shows and stuff. But this one is a prime example of how important it is.
It's great because it adds to the intensity of a lot of scenes, atmospheres. Like even when Ben is arguing, you know what I'm saying, with Harry, and all of a sudden you get the stab. It's like, tuh! And then the hands reach through the window. Like it's crazy, man. Like it definitely, you know, enhances this thing a whole lot, man. So some films I don't think use enough of the music. You know, I watched something recently. I think I watched some Herzog's Nosferatu, the colorized version that came out. I was like, man, this thing needed more music in this thing. There's a lot of cool scenes that he shot, but it would have been enhanced by using the score better. And this thing really does effectively use the score, man.
And prime example to that point, I mean, the original came out in 1922. It was a silent film, and all it had was music.
Dude, the music was killed that, man.
It was the most important part outside of the character.
Expressive. Without having dialogue, that film is so expressive, man. It's so good, man.
Yes.
But this thing definitely, you know, a lot of influence in bigger pop culture things, man. I love this game that I used to play a lot, Left 4 Dead. I might get back on it soon. There's a character that looks just like Ben, you know, in the game, and also going back to the first Resident Evil. What was this, like 96?
Yeah.
I think I was playing that in 96 on PlayStation, 97. In first Resident Evil, and there's a scene where your character's walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden, boom, zombies reach through the window, and that's straight out of, you know, Night of the Living Dead, man. This is crazy.
I mean, the George Romero effect on horror films and zombie culture as a whole, like, I mean, he's the Phil Jackson if the zombies are to Jordan, you know what I'm saying? He is the creator of the undead, and him and his co-writer, John Russo, they were the ones who came up with this not just creating the undead, but then making the undead cannibals. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many ways that this could have went differently. They could have did anything. They could have been aliens. They could have been whatever. You know what I'm saying? But to make the dead rise and then make them flesh-eating monsters or brain-eating monsters or all these, you know, it's just that is shocking in itself, and it gives a lot for other creators that have preceded this film to build on and make their own versions and renditions of zombies. That's why this is such an oversaturated market now, you know what I'm saying, but also still so successful.
I think that's an indicator when you've got something that was good from the core, that you have so much built off of it. Now, there's probably 100 zombie films you can name off now, but even looking at what he built off, you go to Dawn of the Dead, and that would lead to, you know, Zombie and things like that just were really highlights of the genre in general. And even on to now, the most successful thing to come out of this, I would think, would be The Walking Dead. You know how that spawned like an award-winning comic book, which led to a multi-season series, multiple series, you know what I'm saying, built around that
prequel series.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, man. All based off of this tiny little film from a crew of guys in Pennsylvania.
And just a spitball idea shot in the dark. You know, this is a prime example of throw shit to the wall and see if it sticks.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? And because, I mean, look, and from this film, look at how zombies have enhanced. They are so different in every film that we've gotten from this one, because part of the magic and the originality comes from how can I make my zombies different than everyone else's.
How
you know
can
what
you
I mean?
remix this situation and have fun with it, man? Because even now, the fast zombies, that was an upgrade.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
from
saying?
28 Days Later, I was just thinking that in my head, dog. I was like, man, I remember when them motherfuckers started running. You know? And then, I mean, they were talking and they were smart in Return of the Living Dead. I mean, you know, they had a target on what they were eating, where these ones are flesh eaters. They'll just eat any part. The Return of the Living Dead, they needed the brain because it helped with rigor mortis for easing pain and stuff. And like I said, those running zombies, I shit you not, bro, I still get the chills go up my spine, that part when they're running and they go up all those shopping carts in 28 Days. You just hear them. It's like, what do you do? What do you do?
They're going to get me because I can't run that like that. Dude.
No, and like, those zombies are faster than regular human beings.
The slow joints, you know, you might have a chance, but they wear you down eventually. So I think they're both equally lethal. The fast ones are just more instantly lethal. Like I think more psychological stuff comes into play when you're dealing with a slow. Like even we look at novels, man. World War Z by Max Brooks, man, one of my favorite readings, and it just gets into the psychology of this thing on the global scale. It fleshes out what Romero came up with, and it's just amazing, you know, what could be pulled out of this just simple premise initially, man. It's nuts.
I feel like, you know, with the slower zombies, it gives you a little bit more time to process and get ready. Plus, you can juke them out. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't ready to fight. The fast ones, you're forced into fight mode. If you, like, as they're coming, you got about maybe 3.5 seconds. You either pick up a bat or something and get with it, or you done. You know what I'm saying? So
man.
I don't know. I'd rather deal with the slow ones.
You know, some people are burnt out on these films, but I still think some of the cooler ideas haven't been explored yet. Even something as recent as what's the one from Korea, man?
Train to Busan.
Train to Busan, man. And that hold up, what year did that come out?
It
wasn't
like
too long ago.
No,
2016, dude. And to be able to make a film in 2016. A film that's still universally loved and considered one of the best. And we're talking like years later, from 68 to 2016. And in 2016, you can still make a film in this genre and still make a great film that still has enough fresh ideas to pull the people in.
Because it followed the same blueprint but changed the aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? It was still a condensed environment, but you know the coolest thing about Train to Busan was how the zombies turned, the way they got up and stuff. You do things different. Like I said, it's just there's constant ways to enhance. You know what I'm saying? You just got to be creative enough to push the limits and try your hand.
The only thing that I don't think this been done yet. At least I haven't seen a film that's tried to do it. I know there's a comic book about it, but what if the animals zombied out, bro? And you couldn't have all the animals because that's gonna be overwhelming. But what if maybe just the mammals? like the squirrels, the rabbits, the wolves.
Or what if the zombie apocalypse just happened in like New York City Zoo? You know what I'm saying? You getting chased by a zombie rattlesnake. It's like, oh shit.
Oh no, that's too much, man. Then, that's what I say. You gotta limit it, because if it gets to the bugs, it's a wrap. Like zombie flies and
a zombie
gnats
tarantula
and you know things that are just too
that's
deep.
heart attack
zombie
fuel for
roaches.
me, dog.
It's just too many of them, man. I don't think it's gonna be sporting enough. You gotta make it at least a little bit survivable. So maybe if you just did just the reptiles or zombies, or just the mammals. Or just the fish. Like, see, now we're getting into sci-fi movie territory.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I think we can bring this around, man, because this film, like, it's great, man. It's one of
on every level.
Yeah, it's one of the best of the horror. You know what I'm saying? Just a great representation of how good of a horror film could be. Because a lot of people think it's just all about gore and stuff, but I think good horror films, the ones that stand the test of time, explore kind of universal themes and ideas that still fascinate us to this day, man. Like I said, this setup is just great. It endures and it gives us so much, man, out of this simple premise of these people trapped in these insurmountable odds, man.
Well, you know, and this is also a prime example of it's not just about a simple story. It's about the energy and effort you put into it. You know what I'm saying? Coming up and creating a product, standing by your product and pushing it with everything you got inside your body. And that's what everybody involved with this film did. And that's why this film still stands the test of time, has a high level of rewatchability. You can find it on any streaming service. You can watch the black and white version. They even digitally remastered it in color for those that don't want to watch the black and white version. There's so many ways to enjoy this film and everything that it has to offer. But to anyone who enjoys the genre, or even if you don't, this is still a film that you can watch and just enjoy the beautiful art that it presents on screen.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think we'll probably get around to doing the remake,
hell yeah, yeah, we will.
Tom Savini version. You know, we might revisit this back in the summer, man. I think that'd be a good time to get that one in, as well as sequels, man. The Romero sequels, man, because I think it's a good case to be made for. I love Dawn of the Dead, and I think Day of the Dead is a good film too.
Yeah, Dawn was
and
terrific.
Land of the Dead, bro. After that, don't watch no more if you ask me. But but yeah, I think we're gonna be wrapping this up, folks, man. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can become a member, man, if you want to help support us with a little bit of Skrilla. It's not going to cost you a lot, you know, and it keeps us out, you know what I'm saying, out of the streets.
Yeah, a little bit goes a long way, man.
Yeah, man. We out here, man. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter and Instagram.
And this Bobby Blockbuster. As always, you can catch me on the next show out there in the streets, juking them slow zombies.
Oh yeah, I forgot, man. I also, since this thing was in public domain, I rap a little bit. I made a part 1 Night of the Living Beats, man, and it's actually a zombie themed hip hop EP, man. There's probably about 4 songs on there. Some of my buddies on there, and it's crazy because I listened to that while the other day when I was thinking about this show, and we got part 2 on the way, man. So that's going to be coming out this year, man. Let me get that out for you. But yeah, man, we out of here, folks. We're going to catch y'all next time. All right, peace.